Mate, what is with all these NRL fantasy podcasts? They all sound the fucking same. Welcome to the Echo Chamber.
Hello and welcome to the NRL Fantasy Echo Chamber Round 9 Magic Round Edition wrap. I'm here joined by B all the way from America today. How are you going, B?
Good, Scoop. Doing good. How are you doing?
I'm pretty well. It was a round to be remembered. Some absolutely cracking games finished off by a golden point thriller with the Storm and the Raiders, and some absolutely monstrous scores. I haven't seen that since 2021. I think if you scored under 1100, you were almost sweating on not making any ranks.
Yeah, this was a bit of a crazy round. I myself ended up pumping out a 1090, just shy of 1100. How do you do?
Yeah, not too far off that. I got 1080, so up where I am, I was 2.8k down to 3.4, so I actually lost ranks with a 1080.
Jeez.
That's how crazy this week was. There were hundreds, 90s, and 80s everywhere for the highly owned players. I just sold the wrong Roosters backline guy and traded out Toya instead of Nwanganita-Waze. And yeah, no 98 hurt a lot. And then, of course, I decided to bench Dylan Egan because he didn't get 80 minutes last week. And yeah, that didn't go down well. Almost held ranks, but that was enough to really beat it down. Yeah. So how was your week? You got 1090. Which of the big guys did you hit and which of the big guys did you end up missing?
So I ended up, thank God, I held Toya. It was a coin flip if I was going to trade him last week. I ended up holding him, so I got the 96, whatever he ended up with. I had Kraz also, had Haas, had Cleary, so I had pretty much all of the big guns, but like you, I did bench Dylan Egan because of the minutes thing. So that was a bit of a sting. But yeah, pretty happy with my team, besides the fact that couple 20s in there just kind of really held me back from having a monster week.
Yeah, and some of them are like ones that basically nobody can avoid unless they've like got an insane team or just being really, really crazy.
Yep.
Like nobody was probably benching Marmazulis or giving it much thought at all. And 25, how many did he end up with? It was like 9 missed tackles and then a dislocated elbow at the end or something. But yeah, I'll see if I can find info on that as we get close to that game. Yeah. All right. Well, to start off with, then we might go to the Sharkies versus the Eels to kick off Magic Round. This is Friday night, so it was condensed into 3 days of fantastic footy. And one Cameron McInnes led the way with the 72, 58 minutes with a try, and he was a tackle break monster. He ended up with 8 tackle breaks. It's not somebody you expect from McInnes, but he's now sitting on a 56 average, and I'd say he's a decent chance for Origin, but do you think that he makes it with guys like, I don't know, Young, Terrell May, Lindsay Smith? Where do you think he sits in that pecking order?
I think he's a little bit down because even with the guys you mentioned, I still think that Olakuatu's got to be a shout. I think Spencer Lenu's got to be a shout. I feel like he's the type of guy you want in Origin, but I feel like he might be a little bit down in that middle forward pecking order. I think he's a decent option in fantasy this year.
Yeah, and look, most times we wouldn't bother talking much about Cam McInnes, but the Sharks do play quite nice through the major buy schedule, and he does play round 12 if he misses Origin. So if he does end up being available for round 12, he'd have to be one of the biggest targets for that week, considering the serious lack of mids, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think if any of our listeners have already got their 3 mids sorted, they're in a very minority group because I think a lot of people are going to be struggling for mids come round 12.
Absolutely. And it just makes it harder with guys like Horsburgh finally having a slightly lower one, potentially making Origin, and like definitely about Pete now. He's a really hard one to know whether to hold or sell at this point. We'll know in round 13, but I mean, with all the outs this week, with no Roosters, probably no Mumzulas, probably no Horse. Although he was out drinking beers after supposedly getting a cat once. I don't know what that's all about, hey?
Oh, jeez. Typical horse. Typical horse.
Never bored when watching the Big Red Fire Engine. But yeah, so if Cam McInnes is available, I'd say he'd be a really nice option to slot into the mids along with like Aaron Clark and stuff like that. Because Max Plath is also injured for a month or so now. Has foot surgery. It's just becoming harder and harder and harder, and you're feeling the squeeze already. Have you got anybody in mind for those round 12 mids other than those couple that I mentioned?
I have been thinking about one guy in particular for a while. Leo Thompson. He's been just because of how good the Knights buy schedule is. He's been on my radar for a while. Max King name kind of popped up, but ever since he had that big game 3 or 4 weeks ago, he had the suspension, kind of a couple lower games. So Leo's about really the only one I'm looking at. I guess Tarpany too, but he's getting pretty expensive.
Yeah, it's getting to a situation where there's probably only one guy who we'll talk about a bit later that I'm happy to have as a cheaper option for those round 13 mids because everybody's now probably well into the mid 600s or even the 700s, like
Yep.
your Kings, your Leo Thompsons, and all that. It's going to not be a cut price option anymore. It's just going to be I'm playing this for the strategy and the schedule. So yeah, Max King, he's good. He's got the 3 major buy rounds that he plays. Nafahu White, if you're an owner or a holder, stuff like that. There's only probably about 5 or 6 options, and a good combo of them will go a long way to getting you some really good scores.
Yep.
All right. Nico Hines got 3 try assists, 4 goals, and still only managed 59 because Braden Trindle is doing all the kicking. 598 meters versus Hines 104. I find him to be like a final team target that you look for, like a bench dude, like as a sort of mid to high 50s, maybe 60 average score. It's just stick it like 16 or 15 in your team, like right at the end. I'm not super keen on him. Do you think he's an okay option for round 12 halves and stuff? That's the other reason I'd look at him.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think he's an okay option. I think kind of at the moment we've got like three really, really gun options for that round 12 who we're sure probably won't be in Origin. And Hines, Fogarty, and Isaiah Katoa. And honestly, I think I'd have Hines at the bottom of those 3 just because of the lack of kicking meters. That hurts his base so much. But I think, like you said, he's a decent option.
Yeah, Isaiah Katoa is starting to get up there in price now. He's only about 40k less, but he's averaging more than Hines, which is quite amazing. 67 for him on the weekend, good for him. But yeah, I suppose we just have to wait and watch for Hines and just see whether it's worth it at the time.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah. Were you somebody who jumped on the Riley Smith train this week? 54 and 72 minutes.
Oh, mate, I've been waiting weeks for this. I think I hopped on Riley Smith. Might have been round 3 or 4. It's been a while. It's such a slow burn, but I've somehow ended up making like 150 odd K from him. So very, very pleased with this 54 and 57 tackles, which is great effort.
Yeah, that's right. You're the one guy who's basically had him from the beginning early on. Yeah. So
Yep, it's been a while.
Yeah, I was a little worried when he went off after about 50 minutes. I mean, I would have been happy with a 40, but just was hoping that with the bench structure he would play 80 like he did last week. And he got pretty close. 6 missed tackles, but when you get 57, it doesn't really matter. He's like Reed Marnie, doesn't make many run meters, just gets all his basic tackles, and that's all she wrote.
Yep, love it.
Nice. Jill Brown with 53. I suppose he's another round 12 option, but like he's way down, surely. Moses probably plays Origin, right?
Oh gosh, this could be a long debate depending on who you talk to. I'm really on the fence because I know you can't take away what Moses and what Luai did for the state last series, but God, it'd be tough to leave Cleary out, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's really hard to know because it feels like it's heading towards Cleary 7, Moses 6, but that's really weird. And then you've got, just go back to Cleary and Luai. They got the Panthers connection. That's what they've done for a while. Like, there's a few things they could go with, and I think Cleary is going to be there. It's just going to be what is going to be that second part. And who knows what? Maybe one of the players, one of them's 18th man. That'd be like the nightmare scenario.
Yeah, because I find it tough to think that if you take away the kicking meters of either Moses or Cleary, I feel like that is so much of their game, and then you not picking Luai, you're missing out on so much creativity. I think we saw that in Game 3 when Luai essentially, or was it Game 2? I forget which one, but he essentially broke open the game on that left side with a little goose step and a dummy, and essentially won them the game. And I think he offers so much more creativity than Moses or Cleary does.
Yeah, he's a dangerous ball runner. It's going to be tough to leave out somebody like him when we know what he can do. It's been interesting seeing him at the Tigers. Probably not really lead as much, but he's still kind of that runner. But Galvin is almost that player too, and I don't know if they were expecting it to be quite like that.
Yeah, I don't know. You see how different they look when Galvin was out. What was it, 2 weeks ago? So it's definitely working. Whatever they've got, I can't put my finger on it, but it's definitely working.
Yeah. All right. Kyle Iro, 50 with a try. I thought he was going to be a lot higher than this, honestly. He was storming up into half time and then slowed down quite a lot. I honestly think that if we didn't have these dual weapons named Beau Fermor and Dylan Lucas, that he would be really strongly considered to come into my side in the next few weeks, because him and Farnworth just seem the clear number 1 and 2 pure centres. Probably Garrick as well, I guess. Those three seem a lot clear of everybody else in the pure centre category.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I was thinking about bringing in Farnworth last week, but I can't stomach paying mid-sevens for a centre, and I don't know if I'll be able to stomach paying 700 for Kale Iro either.
Yeah, it's much nicer to get one of the forwards for, well, similar price or slightly cheaper even in the case of Fermor, although he's probably gone up enough to be in that price bracket now.
Yeah, something about having that edge duel and knowing they're playing in the forwards, maybe it's just a mental thing, but it definitely helps.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's going to help in round 12 and probably round 15 as well, because I don't think Kautonga is going to make it we'll skip down a bit. Kautonga made 35 somehow on the left. We were all cursing the fact that he was not on the right next to Moses. Managed to knock out a 35, but I don't know if that's good enough, considering we need a strong 13 to make decent ranks, I think, through this period, now that it's a little easier for less well-prepared teams. I think you're going to need like a very strong starting 13 on the park to make some good ranks.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think Kautonga is going to be most likely out of my team also. Edge-wise, you can't afford to play someone like him in the edges, and like you said, centers, there's more options popping up every week now. And he's made, depending on how long you've had him, he's made 200k this year, so he's probably a fine option to dump off.
Yeah. If you didn't have, like, somehow, if you didn't have any of, like, White, Lucas, Toby I know Toby Catchman doesn't play around 12. Would you consider somebody like Nikora as, like, the next category down? Is that enough, or is his drop off in base this year too much for you to consider bringing him in?
I personally would not consider him just because of I feel like he's more prone to missed tackles than some of your other edges. But I will say it is very tough to ignore. I think we saw it on the weekend how well of a line he runs and how well he can score the ball when he's close to the line. He's kind of in that Hudson Young category for tries with me. I feel like he scores pretty much every week.
Yeah, and do you know what's a funny statistic? I was looking this up the other day because I was watching his price creep down. And I was like, hang on, isn't he actually still scoring a lot? So in
Yeah.
2024, he averaged 51.8 with zero point 0.4 tries a game, so 40% strike rate. This year, so far in 9 games, he's averaging 44, so 8 point drop with 70% try scoring rate. And the main
Jeez.
difference is, well, he's dropped like 15 meters in running, but he's dropped from 37 tackles a game down to 31. That's nearly the whole of that 8 points just from that tackles. And I'm wondering if the way that the Sharks have adapted their play since Trindle's become more dominant is hurting him a bit. Like he's a weapon, but the way that they're actually defending and all that, I don't think Nicker has been used the same he was last year. So happy for him to have a big score every now and then, but I mean, he scored 59 with 2 tries even against the Raiders in round 5. I just don't see him being that tier that I want to bring into my team this year.
Yeah, I think 59 with 2 tries is pretty disgusting for a back rower. I think if a edge isn't getting close to 40 tackles every single game and hopefully above that, like someone like Dylan Lucas or whatever, I personally will give him a skip on my team.
Yep, sounds like a plan. There's a lot of relevant guys in this pack. I've had people also talk about Jack Williams, shout out Ham. 59 minutes for him, which is promising. 4 missed tackles, basically nothing except pure base outside of that. Turnover, 41 for him. Wait and watch. If he keeps getting 60 minutes a game, definitely worth a look, but not yet for me. Yeah. And B, tell me more about the sad story of Hopgood, mate. What's going on with these minutes?
This is quick shout out to Eddie, who is still on this train. I departed about what was it, a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So I thankfully am not on this derailing train that's heading off a bridge, which is on top of a mountain that's going to end up in a 1,000-foot lake. But yeah, his minutes have just been going down every single week. His scores have been going down. He's playing hooker. We don't know what's going on. Is his back still hurting? Is it the coach? We don't know. He's probably going to go have a decent chance of Origin as well, which might happen, might not.
I don't think he will anymore. Like, he was in contention
I think he will.
at the beginning of the year, but I just can't see it.
It's been very grim, mate. It's been very grim. And as I said, Eddie is still on that train. I don't know how he's done it, because I think Hopgood's lost like 130k now.
I'm surprised.
120.
I'm surprised it's only 121k now. But yeah, I think it's just
feels like 500.
I think it's just time to get off now. He's enough money that he's useful to get the other guys, but yeah, I think he's pretty much got 36 minutes 2 weeks in a row now, and before that it was like 50-ish. It's just not fantasy. I don't know what's wrong, but it's just get him out.
Abort.
Yeah, Kautonga scored 35, one more than Hopgood, which pretty much tells you need to know. Kautonga probably lives another couple of weeks, but yeah, I may sell for round 12 just because I don't think I'll be playing him. And, well, if he's on the left, he'll probably knock out some more 35s and just sit around high 400s, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's too much more room to grow with him. very, very good option to offload come round 12.
Yeah, I think that's about right. That's about all from this game. Anything footy wise you took away from this game?
I was a little bit disappointed with, sorry to say this, but with the Eels. I was very, very high on them last week with just the impact that Moses had, and I really wanted them to stick it to the Sharks a little bit and just kind of, I don't know, just kind of thrash them how I thought they would. But yeah, a little bit sad.
Yeah, have to watch out for Rudely now. But yeah, I think I think they're not mentally strong enough to beat these teams for some reason. I still think even though they've had a clean out and they've got Riles, I still don't think they have the mindset and the execution to beat anybody at the moment. They're on the bottom of the ladder for a reason, and I don't think they'll be spoon if Moses stays fit. I don't know if I see them climbing very far out of the bottom four.
Yeah, they do have a young, or two out of their four is a young spine with Yongi and Smith. So you can't. I say me. I can't shit on them too much just because having rookies in there, it's a tough gig.
Yep. Hopefully they fix up whatever's wrong with Hopgood. Riley Smith becomes a gun, Iongi becomes a gun, and smooth sailing, but not this year, I think.
Yep, agreed.
Sounds pretty good. All right, let's move on to the start of these monster scores. Top it off with Rob Toyer's 96 he ended up on with. After about 2 months straight since that round 160 without a try, he's suddenly exploded. B, please tell me that you held him.
I did.
Yes.
I was saying to a couple of the boys, I don't know how you guys could not have predicted the Rob Toyer 96 after a 24. I feel like it was quite obvious. But no, I did hold him, and it was a flip of a coin. So I'm just joking about the prediction. I was very, very close to getting rid of him, but I managed to hold on.
Yeah. What did it for me was the Wanganito was having duel and just looking really dangerous with offloads and tackle breaks last few weeks. And then he turns around this week and scores 2 tries and still doesn't crack 50. Like, if he's a very big attacking weapon, but 96 is really hard to miss. Teddy 85 as well. Even if Dylan Edwards hadn't hurt himself, I reckon Teddy's just bashing his way back into this New South teams. 10 tackle breaks, 2 line breaks, 2 try assists, 3 offloads, 271 metres. That's vintage Teddy.
Yeah, it is. And he happens to be on a list of people I hate in the NRL, but I cannot ignore what he's been doing the last few weeks. Very, very good.
Yeah. We were kind of hoping to see him cheap-ish for round 12 and just wait to see if he'd be picked, right? But he's had... Actually, what has he scored the last 2 weeks? It's been like 70, 70, 80 or something, and now he's up above 700k and is racing upwards in price. It might be really tough to afford guys like him without straight trading those top guns.
Yeah, you're right with the 70 and the 85 back to back. I think if I'm going to get him, it's going to be after the bye, so next week. I think it's going to get very, very out of hand over that origin period, especially if he's continuing to play as if he's trying to get back into that side.
Well, we'll have to wait for news on Dylan Edwards and his supposed hammy and things like that, because it's just making it that sort of decision that can make or break the mid-season if you have him and get him on him early, or miss out on some really big scores and have to pay 150k more anyway. It's not quite Haas early year Haas level, but it's going to be pretty important.
Yep, agreed.
Tell me about Isaiah Katoa, 67 of the weekend.
I am very, 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 very happy with Katoa this weekend. I bought him last week and ended up getting that mid to high 40 score, which wasn't the end of the world, but I was very, very pleased with the 67 over the weekend. He just looked so involved taking on the line. I think he could have had another try assist, but someone dropped the ball. But yeah, he looked very, very involved.
Yeah, if he's taking the bulk of the kick meters. He's not missing too many tackles for a little bloke, making quite a few, and add some attack onto that, and all of a sudden he's hitting 50s and 60s very regularly. It's a strong option, as you said. Probably one of those three guys that you'd look for the half
Yep.
position for round 12. And I absolutely could not knock you for buying Isaiah Katoa as one of your round 12 halves.
Yep. I think he's a very solid option.
Mhm. There were a couple of other 50s or low 50s. Farnworth 56, White 53, 50 minutes back to regular scheduling for him. Wong 51 in just about 80 minutes. Savala another 50. Savala's going to be absolutely cracking moneymaker, hey?
Yeah, he thanks to that Anzac round, or Anzac Day game, that just seems to bolster all the Roosters. His break even from last week and now this week is going to be very, very low.
Yeah. Any of those sort of decent scorers that you were particularly keeping an eye on or very grateful for their scores?
Um, Not really too many in this game. I've thought about buying White for that Origin period, but he's already made 200k this year, and I feel like such a loser that I missed out on round one having him this whole time.
Yeah. Well, Wong's actually more expensive than him now. Has made more. I'm probably not going to buy Wong. Farnworth, yeah, but I mean we've got other options as well, and he's expensive. Uh, Connor Watson, however, he managed to save himself with some updates and some late scoring because in the halves when Sandon went off, it looked pretty dire for a while. I think he was on about 13 at half time.
Yeah, he his try was again right place, right time with some good support play, but yeah, he could have had a very, very low score.
Yes, and Sandon's out this week. They'll bring in somebody in the halves. But how much do you worry about? Oh, not this week, sorry. Roosters are on bye, so scrap that. Is this a good week to sell Watson though now? Would you sell him now or would you give him that extra week and do it in round 12?
Oh gosh, I might not be the person to ask because I sold him last week, but I think with the buy now, I think you might be able to wait a week. His I don't think his price is gonna free fall more than it might have already has. So yeah, I think you can wait a week.
Yeah, I'm stuck on what to do with him. I'm not an owner either. I think it's a good week to sell with Marmazulos having this elbow issue, however, you're probably a little strapped for around 11 hooker if you do sell and you don't have Aaron Clark or Wade Egan because there's no Max Plath now. I guess you just have to go straight to Riley Smith or something, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be hopping on Riley Smith this week.
Yeah, well, they didn't get in early enough, hey? I've got 50k out of it so far, and you've got 150. So, but yeah, I do think he's going to be good.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. Longani Waze, 45 with two tries, as I was talking about. Only one offload to ground, which I was a little bit annoyed with, 3 errors, but with the other bits that he did, he managed to make up a decent score. Zach Docker Clay came in and played a fair few minutes to help fix up the Sandon Smith situation. And I was looking at Docker Clay as like a round 12 hooker option because the Roosters play all the major buys until I realised Cheese was due back in round 15. So with that score plus the others, I think we just rule him out now. because it'll mean he doesn't go back to base price.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed.
Yeah, Gilbert did Gilbert things and scored 38. Do you think that Tom Gilbert is going to play Origin, or is Beau Fermor making a case to replace? Well, not replace him, I guess, because Gilbert's been out. Do you think Gilbert, Fermor, Nanai, Fafita? What do you think is going to be the Queensland Origin edges at this point?
I think it's pretty clear that Fafita most likely will not be finding his way into that team. I don't think Billy is too keen on him, and definitely after the last couple of weeks with the Titans, I don't think he'll be happy with that either. I think Beau Fermor has been absolutely putting his hand up to be in that side. What he's done the last 3 weeks, but pretty much the whole season has been remarkable. I think he's very versatile too. He can play in the centres. He's so quick for a forward. I think Queensland would be very silly not to have him in that squad.
I'm starting to get that opinion as well. I think that he's got that tough mentality, and he, as you said, he is another point of difference for being really quick. I think he's just about the quickest forward in the game. I can't remember. Was it Beau Fermor who ran down? It's either like him or Jack Hetherington or something. I think he ran down somebody a few years ago. And we were all shocked that like Fermor ran somebody down that quick. But I think that either way, Gilbert quite possibly there, but I would not be surprised if they just went Fermor instead.
Yeah, I think that's the way I'd be going if I was Billy.
Yeah. What about Lenny? You reckon he'll just be there 20, 30 minute big battering ram?
Jeez, I don't know. I think it's good for the game. I think it's kind of funny. There'll probably be a fight if he's in there, so that's entertaining. But geez, I don't know. There might be a fair few guys ahead of him just based on form.
Angus 29 as well. He's going to play Origin. Terrible schedule for being an Origin gun. Billy Smith, not too much. That's pretty much about it for this game. Hey, no, right down the bottom, Sandon Smith. All the holders from the 67 or 69 last week, if anybody played him, and especially if you played him over Toya, -2 was pretty rough. That's not something that's easily swallowed.
Not at all.
Yeah. Anything else from this game, or shall we move on to the Knights form reversal?
Yeah, let's move on to those up and down nights.
Well, all of a sudden, Kalen Ponga looked pretty good. It may be because the Rabbitohs weren't too hot, but Fletcher Sharp, I didn't watch this game, and then I heard before I opened the app that Fletcher Sharp had scored 3 tries, and my heart dropped, man, because I'm like, oh no, he's going to have 110. But yeah, I mean, you are very happy with the 76. But yeah, I was really worried for a bit there. Very good. Like, he is just that attacking running option, and his slice straight through. He had, 13 in negatives. That's probably what held him back a little bit. And yeah, he remains one of the best wing fullback options going into the round 12 and into the Origin period. And with the duel, it's very useful as well.
Yeah, absolutely. His 3 tries, I don't know if it was all 3, if it was a couple of them, but his support play is next level. I don't know if it's just because he's so quick or what it is, but his support play is next level. It's very reminiscent of Turbo and that 2021, was that COVID season when he was just scoring 100 every single week. But his support play is next level.
It's so often, if the Knights are scoring points, it hasn't been too much until this game, but whenever it is, that Fletcher Sharp's busting up through the middle as everybody's turning around and he's 5 meters ahead of everybody, and all of a sudden there's a try or an assist or something. It's very, very, very good to watch for the Knights. And I do wonder what they're going to do with Dylan Brown there next year. Are they going to turn Dylan Brown into a Luai and make him be a 7 or a 6? Whatever it is, there's going to be some running power. And as Jay-Z said, it
Absolutely.
might not be the greatest strategy, but for a few years, it is going to be fun.
Definitely.
Yeah. Talk to me about some of these other big scores from the night. So there's a few going around. Any in particular that you had your eye on to bring in? Because the Knights have got a really juicy schedule. I don't think they've got to buy until the third Origin game.
Yeah, no, they are. There's several options on this team for that buy round. I think I don't know how it happens because the Knights haven't been that good all year, but they have got some serious fantasy strike power. You look at guys like Dylan Lucas, Leo Thompson, KPP has been very, very solid the last few weeks. He's made 100K this season. I will let you take the reins for the mystery man you wanted to talk about. You want to go ahead and talk about him?
Yeah. I'll talk about Thompson first. It's just going to be a matter of can he keep the PPM up? Because his minutes are good, but
Yep.
will he be scoring 45s, 50s, 55s? 63 and 59 minutes was great. But yeah, 631K is decently pricey, and you probably don't want to pay too much more for that, hey?
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And shout out to Big Greg. No tries, 55. Sometimes he does that. It's good stuff. But yeah, the mystery man who I was talking about is one Jacob Saifidi. Now, with the Knights not having the flashiest forward pack, he's become quite an important part. And yeah, well, his brother's now over at the Finns, so there's just not quite as strong as they were. And Leo Thompson's going to the dog. I keep forgetting that Leo Thompson's going to the dogs. But yeah, so this is why he's interesting. He started the year sort of low to mid 500s at 537K, possibly in line for bigger minutes. He scored 33 and 46, had a low injury game, 16, had a big minute game, got injured again, scored one, and then came back with a vengeance with a 51 last week in 47. So the three games that he's had full games between 46, 51, and 47 minutes. So let's just say high 40s, 50 minutes for 33, 36, and 51. Now, that's not fantastic PPM overall, and he's not necessarily that guy who's a 0.95, 1 PPM just base stat machine. But historically, when he plays 45, 50 minutes, he's a 40 average. He's priced at 30, and he plays round 12 and round 15. Now, round 15 as well is really, really gnarly for the mids because Titans, not too many enticing options. Dragons, yeah, you got some, Couchman especially. You do have the Knights. Bulldogs is Max King, maybe. Cows aren't super amazing. Seagulls definitely aren't amazing. Roosters is like a couple. Rabbitohs, meh. Dolphins, no Max Plath or maybe Max Plath. So it's probably even more limited than round 12. And to have somebody like him potentially scoring, let's say, 40 to 45 pretty solidly for those rounds, and he's currently priced at 404K. That's a mid-season cash. That's a mid-season cash cow / cash out. It's maybe not the biggest score that you can have in that, but if you're like a little lower in cash, or you just can't scrape together really enticing options, he's a real shout, I think.
I 100% agree, mate. I definitely think he's a good shout. I think I personally would wait maybe just a week or two, just to see how his minutes kind of flatten out over a few games. But very, very promising signs for, like you mentioned, the round 12 and round 15 buys.
Yeah. His break even last week was 60 and he hit 51. So it's going to come down quite a lot considering his price. But yeah, he won't run away this week. He's not going to suddenly knock out a 70. It's just not that kind of guy. And yeah, if he hits at least 45 minutes again, especially if he hits 50, I'll be very, very strongly considering bringing him in as one of my round 12 mids.
Yep, 100% agree.
Nice. Aitken got 42. Hang on, let me just check. Let me check what position Aitken played last week. Did he play centre?
That is a great question.
Started at yes, he did. So Aitken is in serious danger, or maybe not danger, of getting the lovely centre duel, which he does every other season. And then we're just going to be spoiled the choice. If he does end up getting centre duel, because he's played 3 games at centre now and has been quite often there in the past years. If he is going to be a centre duel, I think he's a pretty strong round 14 buy because he plays the last two major buy rounds.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's kind of been in my team at some capacity for every year of the last 4 years.
Yeah, love that. Who else is interesting in this game? Oh, is it time to ditch Hubner? 39 minutes off the bench, arrows sort of at a lock, things like that. I think that he's just been belted around too much with that concussion and the sporadic suspensions and things. I think he's just an upgrade target now, right?
Yeah, I agree. I've got way too many fires this week besides him, so I will have to hold probably one more week. But I think it's a very good week to sell Lockie Hubner.
Yeah, Marmazulis too. I still haven't officially figured out the timeline on that, but I keep seeing 3 to 4 weeks being pushed up. And I saw somebody saying if he was not able to get his elbow back in, even after full time for quite a while, there's a solid chance that he's actually done damage around that joint, and that could be at least a while out. So, yeah, it looks like we could potentially lose our round 15 and round 18 hooker option, or at least having to get rid of him now, unfortunately. So 25 for him, 9 missed tackles, just wasn't a good day, and possible injury to top it off, possible sell.
Yeah, I think I will be departing the Peter Mamazoulis train this week. Very, very sadly.
Yeah, I think him to Riley Smith will just about be the number 1 trade this week, right?
Yeah, I think so too.
Anyone else stand out to you in this game? Dane Gagai whacked 50, which was cool. But I mean, we've got centres coming out of our ears.
Yeah. No, I think we touched on it.
All right. And then the forgotten prodigal son. A lot of us stopped believing. I stopped believing after the first month, but Luke Metcalf has continued to come back and prove us wrong. 93 points. He was everywhere. He's so important. He's really grown into the Warriors team. He's just so dangerous. And 93 points. The holders are just rejoicing. He's made 200K now. And yeah, can't really get on, but enjoy it if you are an owner still.
Yeah, I unfortunately sold very, very, very early, way too early. I will note though, in real life, I'm the biggest Luke Metcalf supporter, and I will root for him every time he steps onto the pitch. So I'm very, very pleased with how he's been playing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And CHT as well has been a good foil for him. Quite a lot of kicking, lots of assists. He's made 200K himself as well.
Wow, I didn't even notice that. That kind of went under the radar.
Yeah, he's kind of snuck up because he hasn't got any of those goals or any of the other stuff. He just keeps getting it done. Yeah. The main talking points here, though, are the next 2 players down below that. Scotty Drinkwater gets it done again, 68, 3 try assists, 269 kick meters, which is really good. He outkicked Clifford by quite a margin, which was it surprised me, and he's not the get out of your way super strong Trell Mitchell, but I think he's the complete package, right? He's got all of the ways to score which you possibly want.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think in past years, without a try, we're not looking at these type of scores from Drinkwater, but 68 with no try. I mean, I get that he did a lot of try involvements with the 3 try assists, but yeah, I personally I am hopping on Drinkwater this week.
Yeah, I think he's kind of the guy that if you don't get him now, he'll just get away from you really, really fast. Doesn't play round 12, but I mean, at the moment, if this role continues, he's going to be a final team wing fullback without a doubt, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The only thing stopping him from being an elite tier fullback in the past, because he's been close a few years, is he doesn't quite run as many meters. He's not a 200 meter a week kind of guy like a Teddy or a monster tackle breaker. Like he'll do 3, 4, 5 a week rather than 5, 6, 7 a week. But now he's got decent running, decent kicking, decent tackle breaks, decent assists, decent line breaks, decent goals, decent tries. It's enough there to push him into that category. And I think we can expect good scores from Drinkwater moving forwards.
Yep, 100%.
Yep. And Aaron Clark, one that I'm a little bit annoyed I didn't get on because he's just zooming away now. 69 minutes. He came off and then came back on very quick. 204 meters, 38 tackles, 58 in base, and that's what he ended up scoring. So really, really big for round 12.
Yeah, his duel will be very important. I think just especially the mid part of that duel. I will probably end up be playing him in my mids. But yeah, I very very pleased with 58 in base.
Yeah, I'm a little upset that I was scared off by like the return of Fish soon and stuff like that because I think there will be a dip. But he's shown that he's
Yep.
good enough just to play in this type of role. I think he won't get 69 minutes a week, but I think he can get 60. And I mean, that's what you want. You want a 50 plus guy in 60 minutes with this hooker mid duel. In all honesty, if he keeps a 60-minute role, um, he could just be the hooker we go for the rest of the year because Grant's not crash hot. Watson's a huge sell with all of these Origin missed games and buys. Mamazoulis is gone. He could just be the guy we plonk there for the rest of the year until like the very final bit.
Yeah, I think that'd be a pretty sound option too.
Yeah, nice. Nanai is finally getting good scores like he can sometimes when he's playing 80, but high Origin risk. You think he's just going to be in the Queensland team, right? He's kind of perennial there now at this point.
Yeah, I think he offers so much in terms of being an aerial threat. Yeah, I think he'll be in that team.
Yeah. All four of these next couple have potential for Origin at least. We've got Mitch Barnett, Murray Talangi, and Tommy Dearden. Look, I know Munster is the guy who's been there forever, brilliant player, looks great on the field as well, but far out, Tom Dearden's given it a shake the last few weeks.
He has coming off that absolutely monster game last week with 5 try assists, whatever he's had. He's backed it up again. Didn't get the win this week, but a try and line break, lots of tackle breaks. He's playing very well right now.
I suppose if Mitch Barnett doesn't make the Blues team, which I think he'll probably be there, like with the addition of like Terrell, like surely Terrell May plays, right? It's just going to be a given at this point. Like the only reason they wouldn't pick him is because they don't like him. But yeah, if Barnett isn't there, he also becomes a really nice round 12 option, but I don't think it'll happen. Who else from this game was interesting? Did you make any notes? Anyone who flopped? Anyone who
Not necessarily a flop, but someone who I did have my eye on, Wade Egan, only managing a 39, which for his standards is quite low. He has been pumping out some very, very serviceable scores at hooker, and I think 39 might be the lowest of the year, kind of by a long shot too.
Yeah, what the thing that I was looking out for is that the week he did lose some minutes was when Tamari Martin was on the bench, and this week Sam Healy came on, and he's a really strong up and up and coming hooker. It didn't actually correspond 1-to-1. So Healy played 14 minutes and Egan 72. But I just think that chips him away from being an 80-minute guy all the time if they're going to have somebody like that on the bench. Maybe Wade Egan will play 80 some weeks and they have who's the other bloke that they've been having on the bench as well? I can't remember off the top of my head, but if he's like averaging low 70s minutes instead of 80, considering that he's now pushed his price up to 700k, I don't think he's a buy anymore for the round 12 period. Would you say so? Would you have anybody else ahead of him for sure?
Yeah, no, I do agree. I don't think he's a buy now. I think if you've hopped on already, you've done good. But yeah, I wouldn't be buying him.
Yeah, with Riley Smith popping up, Aaron Clark having the hooker duel as well if you want. There's a few options now available that can do the job. Halasima, I just wanted to bring up because he's kind of quietly. There's so many big money makers this year. Like Halasima is another guy who's all of a sudden he's made 200k, and he's
he's gone completely under my radar.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look up Capewell because Capewell's been in and out in the centres, not in the centres. He did play second row this game. So I think it's kind of down to what New Corey is going to do at this point. Because Halasima, if he plays full games, is really nice. But he's already mid 400s now. So probably not somebody you're actively targeting. Yeah, Purdue 29 with a try. Finally a low game. And I was cheering as a non-owner. But, 300k is a big miss. So, yeah, I'll take that. Let's keep moving on. Magic round was magic, but we've still got about half the game to go. So, B, were you like me and benched Dylan Egan because we were scared of minutes?
I was, mate. Yep, one of the many mistakes I've made this season.
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, he did end up taking a couple. 79 in 73 minutes, though, is just machine worthy. He outscored Terrell May in less minutes, which is kind of stunning. Yeah, you got to try, but yeah. And Terrell May, after being 92% captained in the top 1K, had the worst score out of him, Cleary and Haas by a fair chunk. So Captain Roulette opens back up again for basically the 18th week in a row. Do you reckon you're going to move it from Terrell, or is him just playing 70 plus minutes just too strong a base to resist?
Call me crazy, but I think I'm going to chuck it on Big Pain this week, running at the weakened Rabbitohs side.
Yeah, that's a real tempter, hey.
Yeah.
Little refuses to lose as much price as he should, given that he's a bench hooker. He just comes on and does this every few games. Scores some crazy tries, puts up some big scores in tiny minutes, and then goes back and scores 30 the next week. Hamish Stewart started lock, though. 66 in 48 minutes. What's the go there?
I have been looking at him for a while now, just even when he was on the bench. But now that he's starting at lock, I kind of warming to the idea of him. I don't love that he doesn't play round 12 though, so I might have to let that go through the keeper.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out because Bell getting 32 minutes. 32 minutes is eyebrow raising. The fact that Hamish Stewart took over that role as the dominant minute lock. Hamish Stewart, 48 and 32. So it's just a straight swap, no injuries, no nothing. So very keen to see if it continues, but that price will move very quickly now. 414k at the moment. Won't play round 12, but yeah, that's Hamish Stewart holders, especially if you're still somehow holding through that because he got injured or suspended or something, didn't he? Like good stuff.
Yeah, he did. I think he missed a couple.
Yeah. Toby Couchman is now nearly 800k, scored 62 in 56 minutes. That's just Couchman things. And Mr. 20 points of value gets another 50 after we sell him. Alex Sofath is just a tease, man. Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, Absolute tease.
If you're a holder, it's fine. But yeah, whatever. Yeah, the big news though, Cheapy Cash Cow is on the King Togia, 47 in 80. Not a lot of kick meters, but a couple of try assists. Looks pretty good. Ilias carved it up in reserve grade, but did you jump on him straight away this week? Did you get? I know you had Riley Smith, so you probably did get him this week. Hey,
I did not get King this week.
Oh,
I only did the one trade last week. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get him this week either because I've got so much cash in the bank already. I'm just I'm going 3 guns this week. No cheap cashy.
wow. So,
Yeah.
actually, how many trades do you have now before making any moves? Because it's getting to a
I
point
have-
where we have to start thinking about saving, but it's still a
Yeah.
huge transition period. I've got 22, and I'm almost certainly going to be using 3, so that's starting to get down to, I guess, lower
I've got-
territory, but a lot of people are sort of in that boat too.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think a lot of people are in that range. I'm a little bit lower than you. I'm at 20 before doing anything this week. Yeah, and I don't know if I've got the resources to grab King and bank another 200 whatever K, and then I'll have close to 500 sitting in the bank.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. How much have I got? I got 296K in the bank, so I'd actually
wow.
be in
Yeah,
a
we're-
very similar position. So
Yeah.
who'd I go out? I'd probably go Mumzulis, Hubner, and oh mate, surely I just kick Munster at this point. I'm gonna have to sell him for around 12. I think I'll just do that this week if I can field 12, depending on the Preston and Horsburgh stuff.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm waiting on the Preston news, but if he's out, I'll be trading him for sure.
Yeah, so watch out for that news. It may be happening live during Tuesday pod, or if they've caught on Wednesday. See how that goes. But yeah, maybe I get 3 guns as well. I'm not in a real position to look for that many guns though. I'm starting to get ready, but I don't know. Maybe I bring in that second good half. Maybe I do buy Sharp actually and just play Sharp in my halves around 12.
Yeah, yep, that's definitely an option. I'm grabbing Sharp this week too. He'll be in my wing fullbacks though.
Yep, nice. Scrolling down, Gutho still falling off a cliff. Like he's being good for that team, but he's just not getting last pass, so fantasy's not doing well. Yeah, and Bird is plummeting because just not that anymore.
Bird's Bird.
It's Bird. Kiraz is replaced.
Bird is not the word.
Kiraz has replaced Bird as the run sideways and push people in the chest and get tackle breaks.
And we love it.
And we love it. We love 102
We love it.
points. 102 points leads straight into it. That saved my week, honestly, after Toya. And look, he's nearly 700k, but he is on a team that plays those 3 major buys. He's centre wing fullback dual. He offloads and tackle breaks and runs like very few non-fullbacks. The only worry now is he's doing well enough, even in it's only 2 games back or 3 games back, that he's possibly playing himself into a Blues weak spot.
I've been not sure whether it's been in denial, but I have been telling myself he's not going to be in this team. I think obviously Brian To'o is a shoe-in if he's healthy. I think Lomax, if he's healthy, he's in. Those two are kind of up in the air with injuries, so it kind of looks like he might be that next man up.
I think he's definitely at least third, if not trying to push up higher. Lomax is an insane finisher. But I mean, what does Carraz have to do to get ahead? If New South lose game 1 for some reason against the mighty Terrell May Haas combo, I wouldn't be surprised if we'd see a change, but round 12, I think Kraz probably safe. But yeah, maybe he won't play in all. Maybe he won't play all of the buys.
Yeah. Very cautiously, we say round 12.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just would you? Okay, so if you had none of the options and you needed wing fullbacks because you're preparing for round 12 and beyond and the origin period in general, who would you rank as the best wing fullback buy out of Drinkwater, Sharp, and Carraz?
Wow. And we're considering that Origin is a threat. I think I'm going. Jeez, it pains me to say. I think I would go Fletcher Sharp at 1, just because we know he's not going to be playing Origin.
Yeah. Drinkwater would be one for me if he played round 12 without a shadow of a doubt. But look,
Yep.
it's very tough to split them, especially because Kraz's duel just makes it an extra little bit enticing. Yeah, I think it's. I don't want to say it's dangerous not to have all three, but I think you probably need at least two of them, right?
Yeah. I think you need at least 2, and then obviously pending this Dylan Edwards and Teddy situation, we might have to grab Teddy as well.
Yeah, it's mental. But Teddy might be making it easy for us by actually playing Origin and just having to get the others instead. Somebody who may be playing in Origin as well. We talked before, Bo Fermor, 2 tries this week, heaps last week. Bro can't stop being just a fantasy legend. He's no longer discount. He's 707k, 68 points. Both former Fermor owners stand up and clap your hands pretty much. You've got 177 points out of him in the last 2 weeks.
Jesus.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't list him as a buy now, right? Like, I mean,
No,
he's
I don't think so.
insane. Like, considering that Lucas plays round 12 and isn't really an origin threat, Fermor is an origin threat, doesn't play round 12.
Yeah, no, I think there's no way.
If you're head to head, Fermor's a buy. If you're not head to head, I don't think so, eh? Like, it's tough to say, but yeah, boats floating away.
Very quickly.
Yeah. Reed Marnie knocked out a good score. I mean, if he's going to play 80, he's a potential origin option, but I mean, there's cheap guys out there. Marnie's actually lost a decent amount of K. He's 533 now. If we don't get Wade Egan and he continues to not have many minutes, and Aaron Clark's too expensive, is Reed Marnie a guy? Or would you just go Riley Smith because he's cheaper and probably within like 5-10 points of him?
I would probably go Riley Smith. I'm saying that as an owner, of course, but I think with Marnie, you've got to be comfortable stomaching the fact that he can get a decent score and then turn around the next week and get 9 missed tackles and get mid-30s.
Yeah, look, I think honestly, Riley Smith and Marnie are almost clones in the way they go about the game. Like, Marnie did very similar things when he was at Para, and Riley Smith is now coming, not running much, being an absolute tackle bot, very solid. I think they're just very similar player, and Riley Smith's cheaper.
Agreed.
Awesome. Well, Toby Sexton came back down a bit, but he's still a good player. 2 try assists. Maxi King, though, 43 minutes for 37. Those that did jump on that defensive price are probably disappointed at.
Yeah, the minutes are a little bit of a concern, considering he was at that kind of 60, high 50s mark for a few weeks. I wouldn't be looking at him if he's going to stay around this kind of minute mark.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look for stuff on Max King. I don't think there's any HIA and problems with that. But, yeah, I think it was just the Carraz show and they didn't need huge bashing middles when they've got wingers and fullbacks that can run for 200 meters. Because Tracy got 266 himself. Carraz got 228.
Ooh.
They were just pushing up the park, doing lots of grunt work.
Yeah.
Nice. De Groot exists, but I mean, he's not really making any money. Jaden, do you know what oh yeah, and AKP, the anti-fantasy legend, he scored 13 with a try and 153 meters. Do you want to know his tackle stats this week?
Oh, I'm looking at him right now.
3 made, 8 missed.
How do you miss 8 as a winger? Some wingers don't even make 8 tackles.
I think Jacob Carraz may have had something to do with that, but yeah.
Ah, yes, his 14 tackle breaks all came at the hands of AKP.
Yeah. Brimson missed a few as well. Did a lot of kicking, but I did hear from somewhere, I don't know how reliable it is, that Jaden Campbell may be back very shortly, which, I mean, Des games with the feeder and all that sort of stuff. I will be absolutely bashing my fist if he's named this week somehow, because I really wanted to hold in case Des did something like this, but I guess we'll find out. Maybe it's just rumours.
Yeah, I haven't heard that. That's the first time hearing of it, but yeah, that would be very interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if it is, I will be pretty upset because I was pretty close to holding him and just selling Toa because I could do my trades that I wanted last week with holding him again, but it just seemed dumb considering that he was gone last week, and it's like, yeah, it's 4 or 5 weeks, just get him out. Yeah. Brimson 28, even with that 438 meters, so like considering the strength and the value in our team we have now, he's just a sell, right?
Yeah, well, I kind of mentioned this earlier with other fires to put out. Brimson is so lucky that I have a million other people to trade because he's staying in my team one more week. I've had him all year, and I think Eddie might be in the same boat, but we're going to have to hold him again.
Yeah, I think it's really unlucky that I think you were the only two. Oh, no, I think there were other Brimson guys as well, but both of you managed to get Hopgood and Brimson and somehow get the exact combination to not get them out of your team. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
unfortunate.
A bit rough. So, yeah, that's about it for this game for me, really. I mean, Verril's got 53 and 80 minutes, but he's not round 12. And I think Foran's supposed to be not too far away. We forgot to talk about the main guy. We've got to talk about good old Jakey Preston. Far out, man.
Wow.
So
what a turn of events.
And well, it could be another turn of events too, because as we were mentioning, he got sin binned last minute for a crusher tackle that was, well, on the lower end of severity, and finished on 70 though, even with that. Absolutely legendary. Carraz to him for that try was just like pure points. But because Preston has priors, he's facing 3 weeks if he accepts and 4 if he loses his challenge, and he has decided to front the judiciary. So watch out for the results from that, because I mean, that plus Mamazoulis plus Horse plus a bunch of Roosters could mean that some people may need to make 3 trades even just to make 17 this week.
Yeah, I'm in that boat. I will be having to make 3.
All right, we move into the last few games now. And Nathan Cleary and Payne Haas just say, here we go. Don't forget that I'm a captaincy option. And sometimes when you can tell, like 2 minutes into a game, whether Nathan Cleary is going to score 80 or not, right?
Yeah, he was on in the first half. That is for sure.
He just bullied the Broncos again. I think Phil and some of the others were saying they were replaying grand final stuff at the Caxton and showing on the big screens. And I honestly reckon the Broncos must have been watching that, and Nathan Cleary must have been watching that because they got traumatized, and the Panthers just woke up, looked really good, and Nathan Cleary did like a carbon copy of that grand final winning try. Like that was even some of his teammates I saw when the interview was coming around at the end said, "Oh,
Yeah.
mate, I've seen that before."
I think the only difference that the like positional wise was that Reece Walsh in the grand final like missed kind of a diving tackle, and then in this game, Selwyn Cobbo was nowhere to be seen. But in terms of Cleary making the same move, carbon copy.
It was good fun. Payne Haas, Cleary 97 with a try. Uh, just Cleary things. Just Cleary things. He's put the doubters to rest. And we remain to see how well Panthers can push up with the remainder of this year, because that looked like a game that can play them into form, right? They've looked so much more like last year, pushing forward, connecting. It just worked.
I said the same thing when we thrashed the Roosters 2 weeks ago, though, and then we go and do the flip flop against Manly. So, if we can string a couple together, I'll be a lot more confident.
Yeah, maybe we just captain him on alternate weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Payne Haas, here's PPM. Like Reese, not Reese. What am I talking about? Terrell May plays more minutes than him, and he's got a great PPM. But this year, Haas's points per minute is on another level. So 67 minutes, 10 less than Terrell, and he scores 88. Not even with that many offloads. Only one offload to hand, 11 tackle breaks, 195 meters. He's one of the best forwards the game has ever seen, full stop.
He's an absolute freak, mate. I think you touched on it a few weeks back about the no negatives, and he's done it again. There's 0 red on his stat sheet. It's insane.
Yeah, I think part of the reason that he's getting so many tackle breaks and such good work rate in his point per minute is that he's also running quite wide some of these games. Like Xavier Willison in the game against the Bulldogs was a big body, big unit playing on the edge, shocked them and went through. And Haas was running quite wide on occasion too this game. So 11 tackle breaks from that. It's really interesting to see how he's being used this year. And I mean, big bloke, but his motor's a lot bigger than Big Nelson down at Melbourne.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah. Talk to me about the other sad selling that we've had of these cheap backload players.
Just add it to the list. I think that's 5 now that we've probably all sold. Well, at least me sold way too early. I'm not sure how you could have predicted this, but yeah, big Tommy Jenkins with a 70 points with 2 tries.
Yeah,
Insane.
And can we please get Luke Garner immediately transferred to the Knights to replace Bradman Best? Because if that happened, I think Greg Mars you would average about 160. Casey McLean, man, just doesn't pass the ball, and Bradman Best is like that too. And as soon as he gets the ball, what do you know? 72 tries, 3 line breaks. That one up the middle, though, was really impressive.
Yeah, he did look very good. I'm a big fan of Milky.
Awesome, good stuff. I think you've unearthed another good one, though, mate. These powerful forwards, you just like Melbourne's the backline factory and the fullback factory, but you guys just continue to make the most incredible middle forwards. Patea looked like a young Spencer Leniu, just bulldozer, man. He was incredible.
How insane was that try when he just would not stop? I think he had 4 blokes on him and he just kept twisting and turning and churning.
Wriggling. And he got there.
It was good to see. It was really good.
Yeah. We don't need Payne Haas PPM. We got Patea PPM. 2 points a minute.
Monster.
Yeah. Shibasaki had a good game, but most people have sold him by now. 51 points. Carrigan 68, but he'll play Origin. Cobbo had a really good game fantasy-wise. He couldn't quite break open the game enough against the Panthers. Clamps were back, but yeah, 10 tackle breaks, huge run meters. I mean, if I wasn't confident that he was going to be in the Queensland side, I'd be very tempted to pick him up, but it's probably too late, especially with Reece Walsh timeline ticking down as well.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. I'm giving Cobbo the skip, I think.
Do you sell him this? Well, probably not this week, with the carnage, but round 11, he's probably a sell. Panthers are really tough to hold with the round 11 straight into round 12 origin.
Yeah, I've never owned Yo this year, so I don't have that problem. But with Cleary, I really don't know if I can stomach selling him. I could probably be convinced, but yeah, I don't know. It's a tough call.
I think for me, the thing that's separating it at the moment is that Cleary's price is rocketing up, and 2 more weeks and he'll be a nice price to sell. But the
Yep.
guys who are consistently putting up the biggest average are just so far ahead of everybody else, it's not funny. Like, if you take out Cleary's injury game, his average pops up to just about 70. But outside of that, Haas and May are 10 plus points clear of everybody else, and they don't have a round 11 bye. I'm happy to hold them than Cleary at this point.
Yeah, no, that's a fair call.
Yep. I have not seen much discussion on this bloke yet, but we might further on into the week. Guess who scored really nice, solid points from base price? It's our old friend. It's our old friend who can score definitely many points on the edge in 80 minutes.
Oh, is it the Origin man?
It's the Origin superstar Brendan Piakura. So 50 points in 80 minutes. Look, I don't think he's the most crash hot footy player, and he's not the most crash hot fantasy player historically. But we did say that when he gets back to 80 minutes after he's lost all that cash, that he might be worth somebody that, if we can stomach it, putting back in our teams. And him and King Togia at the moment are those two guys at base price that are going up at the moment. So I think Piakura is going to be by far the lesser looked at option, especially with opportunities for minutes to be taken away, like almost like a Nanai situation. But is there any world, if you did need a cash down this week, that you would take a Piakura?
I would, like you said, I think I'd have him below King Togia. Wow. Yeah, I feel like with the way this season's going, it would be me buying Brendan Piakura, and then he'll score 20, and then the next week Billy will pick him for Origin, and I think I'd probably quit. So I'm gonna skip.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. There's one other bloke. He hasn't sort of come into it yet, and especially not round 12. But in the Origin plans of one Jay-Z, who can do no wrong, he's up knocking on the top 100, despite that captaining Cleary for his 7 points or whatever it was. It's insane. He's flagged Lindsay Smith as a guy to really benefit from all of the Panthers' outs during Origin. And sorry, not Lindsay Smith, Liam Henry. Did I say Liam Henry? I don't know. But yeah, if they do lose Lindsay Smith, they do lose Isaiah Yeo, potentially Liam Martin. We know the PPM beast that is Liam Henry. He's fallen below 500k. Just keep an eye on him.
Yeah, I've had him marked down for most of the year, waiting for this period. Our forward pack will be pretty decimated, I would say, with Yo and Martin out, and yeah, it'll be interesting.
So which round is it that the Panthers actually play in the Origin period? So they do play the round 12.
15. Oh, 12, yep, sorry.
Yeah,
Yep.
I just keep forgetting because there's so many Origin players that are just missing. Um, if we come into Origin and Cleary's gone and Trent Tolau is sitting there in round 12 starting half, is he worthy enough for a spot in your starting 13? Or is it just way better to include a bit more safety and a bit more points with like a Sharp, Fogarty, an ICAT, that type of situation?
I would be tempted to bring him in. For anyone who's not familiar with his reserve grade stats, they're next level. He's a freak. I've already got ICAT, I've got Sharp now, and I've also got Savala, and he plays around 12, so I don't know if he'd be in my starting 13, but I would be very tempted to bring him in.
Savala helps out a lot.
He
If
does, yep.
there's probably going to be some looping going on with halves and centers for that week.
Yeah, that'll be a total mess in my head, but try and figure it out.
Anything else from this game, or should we crack on to the final one?
We're back, baby. We're back.
Hand of the back, off the bottom.
We're
eels
back.
Eels to the cellar. Yeah. Sounds about right. And we had a game where half the players not named Matty Nicholson started really slow and then finished well. And in Golden Point, I don't think I've seen a Golden Point before that was that chaotic and controversial and like just let the boys play. Like there were bins, there were penalties everywhere, and finally Fogarty knocks over the 2 points. What did you make of that?
The real answer is that I agree. I think it was very messy, too many penalties. They need to let the boys play, blah blah blah. My fake answer and what I've been wanting to say is that the Storm suck. They have now lost to the Dragons. They've lost to the Raiders. They're not contenders. And I challenge anyone listening to give me one good reason why they're gonna be even close to making the finals.
Bulldogs Premiership, except they can't win
Yep.
the rain.
So the Waz and Penrith will be in the final, and Storm will be a first round out.
Now that Rain's won, are the Waz third or second?
I believe the Waz are second.
Yeah, great.
Let me just double check that.
2025. Okay, so they're equal on points. So Waz are third now. But yeah, I tell you,
third. Okay.
each time, every year that I say, nah, guys, Warriors bottom four, maybe even a spoon contender, they just pop up into the top four. So you're welcome, New Zealand fans.
Yeah, Scoop, you've saved the country.
Yeah. Let's talk about the actual scores. Eli Katoa is a strong edge gun, not a round 12 option, though probably somebody to look at more strongly a bit later on, though. We've got some really powerful options this year, but he's one that'll always be up and around there. But yeah, what about these expensive Raiders boys now? Nicholson, Tarps. What's happening with them for round 12?
I have been under the impression this entire time that Nicholson was never going to last this long, but here he is making 250k, so that's another loss to the tally for me. Tarpany, I'm not too sure if I want to be buying him so close. I mean, he's damn near 800k now, but he is a very, very, very good option for a very dire mid position come round 12.
Yeah, and as I was sort of alluding to earlier in the episode, some of these mids we will just need to buy at price, and maybe Tarpanay is just one of them for that period.
Yeah.
Especially if we do have to sell Horse, and he does play Origin. I think it will benefit him enough for me to take a Tarpanay. But yeah, I would.
Yeah, I think.
I would prefer a 710k Tarpanay, not a 777k Tarpanay.
Yeah, I agree. But like you said, I think it's going to get to that point where we just have to bite the bullet and do it.
Yep. Yeah. But I agree on Nicholson. I thought that Hosking back in a couple of weeks would mess with it, but Hosking's just gone to the lock rotation, and Nicholson's now stopped being a plotter, except for the fact that he's still plodding away and then scoring tries. So yeah, 63 points to him. Very, very good edge for round 12. What else we got? Weeks. We'll do weeks things sometimes. How good was that try up the middle though, to just right near the end of the game to bring it back and give the Raiders a chance?
It was poetic. It was that honestly that try was probably my favorite moment of the week. And I'm a Panthers fan, so that says a lot. His hair was soaking wet. He was just galloping up the field. No one could catch him. He's too quick, and you could just see the heart and soul of every Melbourne Storm player just completely crumble.
Yeah, he's. I mean, and he's so quick too. The Raiders have. I think the Titans, and the Seagulls have by far the three quickest backlines in the comp. And he was just, once he was through and Pappenhausen had to turn, you just knew it was on. You just knew that it was happening and the Raiders were coming home.
Mate, yeah, you're right. He is so quick, lightning quick.
But yeah. Tamale got the job done again. Just love seeing him accumulate 30 points once you blink and 10 minutes pass, and he's magically saved his score again. It's great stuff.
Yeah, I'm very glad that I haven't sold him yet. That's one of the few holds that I've done right this year.
Yeah. There's a few guys in this 40-50 range who some are holds, some are. What do you make of this range? Because you've got guys like Hughes, Horsburgh, Pappenhausen, Fogarty. Fogarty, I mean, he's fine. He'll have games where he goes just under 50 and games where he goes just over 60, unless he scores a try. I'm starting to think that Hughes may not be an actual buy when he bottoms out anymore. Maybe he's just not going to be like that Dalian year.
Yeah, I think it might get to a point though over Origin with Munster gone that you're almost forced to buy him if he's getting into that I don't even want to say high 400s, but if he's getting that low, I think you just have to bring him in.
Yeah, well, he's beginning to get close. 46 will level out his break even a little bit, but 544k for Jerome Hughes, who kicked for over 500 meters and didn't have a single attacking stat to his name. That's better, but yeah, Munster's being dangerous without doing anything stats wise at the moment, and I don't know. I don't know what to make of it for guys like Hughes. I think that we are not going to get 60 plus average Hughes like last year, but he's cheap enough to be really worth a flyer if he can keep up these stats and actually take some attack off Munster and Pappenhausen.
Yeah, I will say Hughes does historically do pretty well over the Origin period. Like last year, he had 60, 76, 58, 74, 61. The year before that, there was a few 70s in there. So I don't know. I think I would probably be bringing him in, but then again, he only plays that round 18 bye, so it's a bit annoying.
And maybe we can make the decision based on his price then. If it's like 620, maybe not. If it's still low 500s, well, I don't know. Maybe that might just say he's not worth bringing in, but yeah, we'll see.
Yep.
Horse, he's cat one, but then he goes out and has a drink, and he'll probably be. He should be out this week. He should not be named. But would you sell him? He's up until now. He's been managing to knock out at least 50, even if he gets a few less minutes. I'm personally going to hold until round 12, I think. What are your thoughts on Horse?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I think I'm gonna hold to around 12. I'm not too much of a Queensland connoisseur, but I wouldn't say it's a guarantee that he makes the squad, is it? Like, there's still a chance he might miss out. So I don't know. I'll probably hold.
Yeah, I think that it's close enough that it's like big worry, but
Okay.
yeah, some weeks you're like, yeah, he's football, still get in. There's other weeks you're like, yeah, why would they pick somebody like this who can just get suspended all the time and be a crazy red robot the other weeks? Yeah. Pappenhausen still got goals, which is interesting. Maybe the is this was this Meany's first game back?
Yes, I think it was. I think I heard Bellamy say something about that.
Yeah, yeah. We'll have to.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll have to watch that. But yeah, I because he's so small, he just doesn't quite get the tackle breaks that some of the big fullbacks do, and he's not an offloader so much. So I just don't think he's an elite tier option, even with goals.
Yeah. Oh, I actually did lie. He played. Meany played round 8 as well, round 8 and 9, but didn't goal kick in either.
Oh, okay, so that is interesting. So if Melbourne do put foot down on a few teams, it could be interesting. But yeah, it almost feels. I hate to say this because Pappenhausen is doing way better than him at the moment, but it almost feels Reese Walshish, where you can score a try, do a line break, rack up 11 goals, and go,
Uh,
oh, how do you only score 39? It's kind of that situation.
yeah, it is a bit gross, I will say. I tend to avoid those kind of players, but it can be fun when they pump out 80 plus.
Somebody who I'll be actively looking to avoid for basically the entire rest of his career is one Cameron Munster. So unfortunately, he's just not quite been the guy we thought this year. He's been very, very good NRL wise. But if we look at his stats and compare them from last year to this, so 2024 Cameron Munster, let's take away those injury games. So 2024 Cameron Munster broke about 3 tackles a game, ran 120 meters, kicked 120 meters, did a lot of attack. This year, he's getting similar try assist strides, averaging less tackle breaks, a whole missed tackle more, and 30 less run meters. So he's being very important for this team and actually getting slightly more try assists, but that sort of those power statistics are just not quite there this year, and he's dropped a good few points, and it's just not going back to that keeper level that we know and love. I think that I'm going to move on from him this week if Preston isn't suspended.
Yeah, yep, that's a good call. Origin right around the corner too, so yep, very good.
Go out, Tom Starling.
Another person who I wish I could just punt into oblivion, but no, I've got too many other people I got to worry about. Starling, he will stick around one more week. Riley Smith, I do own him too, so I've got 2 options for round 12 hooker now. Yeah, a bit disappointed with a 30 and 70 minutes though. It just seemed like he wasn't as involved as he usually is.
Yeah, 38 tackles, but 6 missed. Yeah, you're just used to seeing at least once a game a Tommy Starling dart where he picks up the ball from dummy half, smacks a few people in the chest, and makes like 7 or 8 points from that run. And he's done his Tommy Starling thing, and he gets a 45.
Yeah, I really don't know. He looked like he was unfantasy related. He was very involved in pissing people off. I saw he was on top of Munster at one point, and Munster kind of flung him off his back. I know he was in Loiera's face as well. So
he deep
yeah,
squatted
I don't know.
him like a barbell.
Tommy Starlin must weigh like a
Oh, I think he's the only bloke. Actually, no, I
Paper,
think Jai
wet
Gray as
paper.
well. I think they're the only blokes in
Ah,
the NRL that are almost as light as me.
oh, it's too good.
But that's pretty much the end of all the relevant guys at the moment. I mean, Coates. Coates was a fun one because the guy who actually did win the highest score this week, I think he ended up equal, but he was on 1,270 with Coates to go. And I thought, oh, hang on, we're on for 1,300 here. But nope, Coates did
Jesus.
a 19 and didn't quite make it there for that bloke. But yeah, just shows you what a crazy week it was. If somebody was on 1289 as the top score this week.
Assuming they played Pete the Greek as well.
I don't think so.
Oh wow, okay.
Actually, let me have a quick look. So, yeah, his team was. Yeah, okay, I found him. So he played Aaron Clark at hooker. He did the elite.
Okay.
He actually does not own Mum Zulus, and he's ranked
Wow.
20,000th. So there you go. Maybe
He's ahead of me, so he's doing something alright.
It was probably 40,000th last week. But yeah, he had Colin Matungi for 63. He had Hines 59. His lowest two by far were Coates 19 and Kaltonga 35. So yeah, he played
Wow.
Clark hooker, Haas captain, had Cleary, had Carraz, had Teddy, had Drinky, had Toya, had Metcalf, had Jenkins. So he hit everybody.
That's insane.
Yeah, and then he just brought it home with Xavier Coates. So that just shows you how fantasy goes sometimes.
Oh, that's cracker.
That's good fun. But yeah, thanks for hopping on tonight, B. So, what are you looking in for this week? Are you going to do some more captaincy roulette?
Yes, mate. I'm gonna roll the dice on Payne Haas this week as my captain. And trades wise, I'm pending the Preston news, obviously, which we're all very anxiously waiting for. I will be doing Stafford Toa, Jacob Preston, and Peter Mamazoulis out, and I'm bringing in Fletcher Sharp, Dylan Lucas, and Scotty Drinkwater.
I don't mind that. I think that's pretty solid. I'm probably going. Hubner to Sharp to use up all that cash, and then
Yep.
figure out what I'm going to do for the other ones. Might go Toa out. Might go
Munster.
Munster out, as well as the Mamazoulis trade.
Yeah. Yep. Very solid.
Yeah. The thing is, who do I bring in now? Because I have Lucas Carraz, Marju, Nawa, Drinky for my backline. I have Tamale that I could play for round 12. I really don't want to admit it, but I almost feel like I should buy Aaron Clark at this point just to actually finish round 12 preparations.
Yeah. I mean, Clark, Sharp,
getting
maybe
away.
if you don't have Sharp.
Yeah, Clark's 681. That's really rough to bring him in so late, but maybe 69 minutes was just really big sign to him. So even with Fishback, could be a go. I'll figure it out. But that's one for me to agonise over for another 3 hours before making the same decision as I was going to do already.
I suppose you want a pat on the back for coming to the same conclusion as everybody else.
Oh, that's good.
That'll be me this week. Pat on the back for coming to the same conclusion as I was going to before. So that'll be a wrap for us, B. What do you got for us coming into this week? We got more sexy Samoan segments coming, or is it just going to be sexy Payne Haas captain?
I'm actually feeling rejuvenated. So I'll bring back a sexy Samoan segment. Thanks to Penrith winning and Melbourne losing, I'm feeling very good. And yeah, I'll have a couple sexy Samoans and maybe even a tasty Tongan for the viewers.
Sounds fantastic. Make sure Panthers go straight up the ladder so we get lots and lots of them. Oh, well, thank you, B, for joining me. Just the two of us tonight. We should be back for TLT shortly this week, round 10, and good luck this week with the outs.
Yeah. Good luck, everybody. Thank you, Scoop.